Welcome back to Old Charles, the channel where we dig deep into the stories behind the metal. Today, we're tackling the big one, the 1981 50-cent coin. We're going to separate the fact from the fiction, show you exactly what to look for, and reveal the shocking truth about its value. Stick around, because you're not going to want to miss this. To understand why the 1981 is so famous, we have to go back in time. The Australian 50-cent coin as we know it, the 12-sided dodecagonal coin, was introduced in 1969. It was made of 80% silver and was a real, tangible piece of value. But that only lasted for 1 year. In 1969, the price of silver skyrocketed, making the metal in the coin worth more than its face value. So, from 1970 onwards, the Royal Australian Mint switched to a copper-nickel alloy, the same material we use today. Now, fast forward to the late 1970s. The country had a huge supply of 50-cent coins. So many, in fact, that the Royal Australian Mint didn't see a need to produce any new ones for circulation in 1979, 1980, and, initially, 1981, but then, a problem emerged. A shortage began to develop in certain parts of the country. Banks were running low. So, late in 1981, the mint was forced to fire up the presses. But they did so only for a very short period and in extremely limited numbers. And that, right there, is the crux of the mystery. The 1981 50-cent coin was produced in tiny quantities compared to every other year. While millions of coins were minted in the years before and after, the mintage figure for the 1981 circulation coin is estimated to be, wait for it, only around 200,000. To put that in perspective, over 30 million were minted in 1978. So, right off the bat, scarcity is a huge factor. But that's only half the story. This is where it gets confusing, and where most people get it wrong. There are actually two types of 1981 50-cent coins. And one of them is practically worthless. First, the one you've heard about, the genuine circulation strike. This is the rare one. It has a specific, adverse or upset reading, that's the grooved edge, which means the reading is not perfectly aligned. It was struck on the same, older presses as the 1970s coins. This is the coin with the 200,000 mintage. Now, look at this one. Holds up the coin in his right hand. This is what's known in the hobby as a fantasy piece, or a mint-made rarity. In the 1990s, the mint discovered a small number of 1981 dated coin blanks, or planchets, in their vaults. Instead of melting them down, they decided to strike them as a special, numismatic product. These were sold in official mint sets directly to collectors. They have a different, much sharper and more precise reading. Crucially, they were never intended for circulation. While they are technically genuine coins, they are not the legendary circulation strike and are far more common in the collector market. Their mintage is around 50,000. So, if you have a 1981 50-cent coin that looks brand new, shiny, and perfect, it's most likely this mint set version, worth maybe $20 to $50. But if you have one that looks worn, like it's actually been in someone's pocket, you might be holding the Holy Grail. This is the most reliable method. The rare circulation strike has a blunt, rounded, or mushy-looking reading. The grooves aren't sharp. The fantasy piece from the mint set has sharp, square, and very defined reading. The circulation coin will often have bag marks, light scratches, and a general luster that isn't mirror-like. It looks like a coin that's been handled. The mint set coin is flawless, with a brilliant, almost reflective surface. This is a more advanced technique, but many collectors swear by it. The two coins, due to slight differences in the metal and strike, can have a subtly different ping when you tap them. The circulation coin has a slightly duller sound. It takes a trained ear, but it's a cool test to try. Let's start with the mint set fantasy piece. In uncirculated condition, as found in the set, its value is consistently between $20 and $60, depending on the market and the grade. In a lower grade, let's say good or fine condition, with obvious wear but the date and design still clear, you're looking at a value of $200 to $500. But if you have one in extremely fine, EF, condition, with only light wear on the highest points, the value jumps significantly. We're talking $800 to $500. And now, for the pinnacle. A 1981 circulation 50-cent coin in mint state, MS, or uncirculated condition. A coin that, by some miracle, never entered circulation and was saved in a drawer or a jar. These are the coins that make headlines. A genuine uncirculated 1981 circulation strike is one of the rarest modern Australian coins you can own. At auction, these coins have been known to sell for $2,500 to over $3,500. I repeat, do not under any circumstances try to clean or polish it. Collectors want the original surface, and cleaning will permanently damage the coin and destroy 90% of its value. Handle it by the edges. Take high-quality, clear pictures of the obverse, reverse, and most importantly, the edge. Post it on coin forums, take it to a reputable coin dealer, or join a coin club. The community is great at helping with authentication. If you are confident you have a high-grade circulation strike, consider getting it professionally graded and slabbed by a service like PCGS or NGC. This authenticates it, grades it, and encapsulates it in a holder, making it easy to sell and maximizing its value. So, the 1981 50-cent coin is a tale of two very different coins. One is an interesting collectible worth a few bucks. The other is a numismatic. Thousands. The thrill of the hunt is what makes coin collecting so exciting. It proves that history and treasure are hidden in plain sight. So, go check your change, ask your parents and grandparents to check their old jars, and you never know what you might find. When Australia decimalised its currency on February 14, 1966, it introduced a brand new suite of coins. The 50-cent piece was the largest and most valuable of the new circulating coins. The coin featured a magnificent rendition of the Australian coat of arms, designed by Stuart Devlin. It shows the 6 state badges on a shield, supported by a kangaroo and an emu, beneath a 7-pointed Commonwealth star. Crucially, this original 50-cent coin was struck in 80% silver. It was a substantial piece of high-value metal, reflecting its high face value. This became its downfall. By 1967, the price of silver on the world market began to skyrocket. Very quickly, the intrinsic value of the silver in each coin exceeded its 50-cent face value. It became economically irrational to use them as money when they were worth more as melted-down bullion. In 1968, the Royal Australian Mint made a critical decision. 1. Withdrawal from circulation. They announced that the silver 50-cent coins would be withdrawn from circulation and demonetized. This meant they were no longer legal tender. The public was encouraged to return them, and millions were melted down. 2. A new material *, a new, base metal version was developed. The composition was changed to copper-nickel, 75% copper, 25% nickel, the same alloy used for the other new decimal coins. This made the coin's intrinsic value much lower than its face value. 3. A distinctive shape * to easily distinguish it from the old silver version, and to avoid confusion with the new 20-cent coin, the new 50-cent coin was given a unique dodecagonal, 12-sided, shape. The round 50-cent coin was officially retired. The new, dodecagonal, copper-nickel 50-cent coin entered circulation in 1970. The silver round 50-cent pieces of 1966 and the 1967 mule, with the wrong obverse, became instant collector's items. Throughout the 1970s, the Royal Australian Mint produced 50-cent coins in massive numbers. For example, 1970, 13.6 million; 1974, 21.6 million; 1978, 30.4 million. The system was flooded with them. By the end of the decade, the Mint determined that there was a more than adequate supply of 50-cent coins in the economy to meet demand. As a result, no 50-cent coins were minted for general circulation in 1979 or 1980. The decision * initially, the plan was to continue the pause. No 50-cent coins were scheduled for production in 1981. The shortage *, however, as the year progressed, reports began to filter in from banks, particularly in Western Australia, of a localized shortage. Coins were being hoarded, lost, or simply not circulating back to the banks in sufficient numbers. The limited strike **** faced with this practical problem, the Mint was forced to act. Late in the year, they authorized a very small, minimal production run to alleviate the shortage. It was intended to be just enough to top up the system, not to replenish it entirely. The key historical fact is the extremely low mintage. While official records are debated, the widely accepted figure for the 1981 circulation strike 50-cent coin is approximately 200,000 coins. Compare this to the 30 million from 1978 or the 10+ million that would be minted in 1982, and its scarcity is put into stark perspective. These 1981 circulation coins were struck using older, traditional presses, which gave them their characteristic, blunt, or mushy, edge reading. The story doesn't end in 1981. In the 1990s, the Mint discovered a small stock of unused, pre-prepared 1981 dated 50-cent coin blanks, planchets, in their vaults. Rather than melt them down, they decided to strike them as a special numismatic product for collectors. These coins were struck on modern, high-quality presses, giving them a sharp, square-edged reading and a flawless, brilliant finish. They were sold exclusively in official Mint sets. These are the fantasy pieces, or Mint-made rarities. While they are genuine 1981 dated coins, they were never intended for circulation and have a separate mintage of around 50,000. They are collectible but are not the legendary circulation strike that commands four-figure prices. In non-commemorative years, the standard coat of arms design continues to be issued, but in much smaller mintages, primarily for Mint sets and baby year sets, making even modern, common, date coins in uncirculated condition somewhat collectible. Heavily worn. The major design elements are clear, but all finer details are flat and worn away. The rims, the raised border, may be partially merged with the field, the flat background. The coin will feel very smooth. The date and the basic outline of the coat of arms are visible, but the details within the shield, the state badges, are mostly gone. The kangaroo and emu have lost their feather and fur detail. These coins never entered circulation. They have zero wear. The difference between grades at this level is about the quality of the strike, the presence of bag marks, small contact scratches from being moved in bags with other coins, and the strength of the Mint luster. 1. Luster is king. For uncirculated coins the shimmering, cartwheel effect of the original Mint luster is vital. A coin that has been cleaned or polished will lose this luster and most of its value. Do not clean your coin too. The Mint set coin is different. Remember that a fantasy piece from the Mint set will always be in MS-65 or higher condition because it was never handled. Its value is capped in the $20 to $60 range regardless of its high grade, because it's not the rare circulation strike. 3. Strike quality *. Some circulation strikes might be weakly struck in certain areas, like the center of the coat of